Hey, what's up? This your boy Big Man. You already know what it is, man. So let's get right to it. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about K Shordy. Now, K Shordy is a rapper from Jacksonville, repping that Duval County. And man, dude seems to be on the right pace as far as his rap career is going, man. I did several videos about him a while back, man, and it was all involving, his situation in Jacksonville and other rappers. Like at the time, he was getting into it with Spinabenz. He was also at the time having some issues with Foolio. And recently, he did an interview with Dirty Glove, and he sat on the porch and gave a long interview about everything current with K Shordy. Now, there were some fine points that I wanted to take out of this interview and expand upon and talk about because he's mentioning Foolio and he's specifically not mentioning other rappers, man. And it makes a lot of sense because the way that K Shordy tells it in this interview, it seems like, man, he's really about that life and he's really living that life. So, man, he doesn't want to slip up or say anything too crazy that could have some disastrous effects on the people back home in Jacksonville. But before we get to the specifics, do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and man, let's get it. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about this K Shordy interview with Dirty Glove, man. Now, first things first is I noticed he had a whole crew of people with him, man. All his homies roll with him. And that's for good reason, man. It seems like, man, K Shordy has a lot of drama going on back in Jacksonville, man. And he feels that Foolio actually might have caused a little bit of it, you know what I mean? Or might have been the catalyst for a lot of it. And it's interesting how he describes most of his relationships throughout Jacksonville with other rappers, man. It's interesting to say the least. And when I say interesting, you would think he wouldn't listen to their music. Whoever his ops are, you would think that he would disregard anything that they play or say. But he did specify that he doesn't play the music that the ops are dissing him and his homies. You know what I mean? Which only makes sense, right? Well, it seems like Foolio and him, their relationship is in a weird place. It seems like Foolio, through his antics, man, has caused a lot of harm, man, as far as other rappers trying to come up in Jacksonville, man. Even though there is a bright light on Jacksonville. A lot of Jacksonville rappers are getting a lot of shine, and a lot of them are coming to the forefront. I mean, there was a whole write-up from the Complex magazine where it went in detail about, I think, like 8 or 9 different Jacksonville rappers and talked about them each specifically and, all this stuff about them, like gave a good bio, it gave a good story, man, everything, man. And you only get that attention from the beefing. And K Shordy talked about this. He says he believes that a lot of the beefing and a lot of the raps where they're dissing each other brought on a lot of the attention, and that's the benefit of it. Like, not that it's a good thing, but the fact that all that was going on when you had the Who I Smoke and you had the When I See You, it just brought a whole bunch of attention to Jacksonville that was never before there. You know what I mean? Jacksonville is actually the highest populated city in Florida, outside of Miami, I believe. I think they're like, if you count Miami metro area, it's way bigger than Jacksonville. But other than that, man, it is a huge city. So this is their first time getting a lot of shine. And it seems like the way that K Shordy lives his life is almost like he's trapped in the streets. You know what I mean? The way that he described all the situations that he's been through, and one of those incidents being highly publicized in Jacksonville, which was the shooting death of a young lady who was on her way to college or whatnot. And he was actually with her, and I think he was the intended target. Don't hold me to that, but I believe that's what they said in the news story. And it was just a horrible situation. He goes in depth about how during that situation, man, a lot of people blamed him for that, and they turned their back on him for the most part, man. And it's been a wild ride ever since then. And just recently, he started to break through in the rap game, man, and things have actually started to turn around. But he's been keeping score about who dissed him and who didn't, who stuck by him and who didn't. And man, one of the people that he talked about specifically was Bibby. Now, Bibby was one of Foolio's homeboys also, man. And his story is sad too, man. To be real, it's tragic, man. This is a tragic situation. And all this stuff got to stop, man. That's going down in Jacksonville, man. All this real life Hunger Games stuff they got going on, man. It's tragic to hear. And you can see the effects when K Shordy is in his interview. You could just hear, it's him and a whole bunch of other young guys, and the energy there, man, it says a lot, man. It says a lot, to say the least, man. And he starts to open up throughout the interview as well about his relationship with Bibby and how he used to tell him how to watch himself in the streets. And Bibby, he tragically lost his life as well, and he was shot down, and he's actually, his trial is, the trial for his murder is going on currently, and it's involving another rapper by the name of K who's also from Jacksonville, man. So that's been widely publicized. And it seems like, man, K Shordy has been there for the after effects of all of this stuff, including the battles between Foolio, Young and Ace, and everybody, man. And he seems to be tired of it, man. From the interview, it just seemed like he was tired of the whole situation. He talks about at this point how he wants to move from Jacksonville, but he's definitely on his grind in the game. Now, K Shordy is coming up pretty good as a rapper, man. It seems like everything he drops now gets over like 200, 300,000 views. He's got something that's almost sitting on 1 million. It's going up for him, man. And it seems like he's trying to plan this thing out while also staying safe in the streets. Because he also talked about this. He says that the way that he has to move is ridiculous. He says that he basically, and this is where it's wild. When I'm listening to K Shordy talk in this interview, I hear Dirk and them just a few years ago talking. I hear FBG Duck and them talking. You know what I mean? I hear that same energy. I hear the same stuff about, hey man, every day I gotta have it on me every day. It's that same type of energy, man. And I'm wondering, man, did Jacksonville just become like this, or has it always been like that, man? Because it seems like this all started around 2017 when Young and Ace and stuff started to bubble, and then you started to have Foolio, and then all this stuff started to take place, and all that, right? But man, it seems like, man, maybe there's a point where this could all be reversed as well. Maybe that's what I'm looking for in this, man. But as far as K Shordy in this interview, I say go check out Dirty Glove. He does really good interviews, and I think K Shordy tells his story in a unique way. And it's wild that him and Foolio are from that same hood, but Foolio, it seems like they've never actually done any big projects or anything together, man. It's like, and he talks about that. He talks about the fact that Foolio is a little bit standoffish, you know what I mean? Because he had to get it out the mud, he's not as willing to reach back and, help out artists back in Jacksonville, which, man, personally, I think could be a mistake. We've seen many artists make that mistake before, but Foolio does have his own artists as well, man. He has people that he's putting out there, like his other cousin, you know what I mean? So I don't know if that's a fair assessment. I mean, at this point, that's just an opinion. But one point that he does make, man, is that Foolio might have turned it up a couple levels too much, man, with all the dissonant stuff and with all the stuff that he says and his antics, because at one point, K Shordy and his crew were the ones that were back in the hood watching all this thing unfold and really in the streets for him. And he says that. He's like, we really out here in the streets for you. And, you doing all this extra and all that, man. And that's basically what he said. I'm paraphrasing a little bit. But it was eye-opening. I suggest everybody listen to K Shordy's story. It's interesting to say the least. Now, with that, this has been your boy. Hold up. What do you guys think about K Shordy or any other rappers coming out of Jacksonville after Foolio and Young and Ace and all this been going down, as far as the beefing and stuff like that? Do you think without the beefing, will they have as much interest in them? Or is it the fact that they go so hard and they remind a lot of people of Chicago before is why that they're blowing up so much, man? Now, with that, this has been your boy, Big Man. Do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And make sure you hit that notification bell so that way you get a notification every time I drop this hot content. And we out of here. Peace.